Hey, good morning. Thanks, everyone, for coming over. And if I'm checking my phone, it's just because this is the only way for me to tell time up here. So I'll kind of take a page out of JP's book and start off by saying I'm not really excited to be here. No, I'm just kidding. It is fun to be here. It's always great to chat with people that are thinking about data, thinking about making business better from data, and getting a chance to share some of the things that we're seeing and some of the things that we're trying to do to help businesses be more effective. At Google, I sit on our analytics team. Has anyone heard of Google Analytics? We have an analytics tool that's used by a lot of businesses globally. And I try to do three things for our team. The first thing I do is I try to help them develop strategies and a roadmap for our product based on what businesses really do. I try to help our sales and marketing team with stuff like this. And I try to help educate people, right, about what's happening in the world of data. And particularly around marketing data, right? If you know Google, then you know that we make a lot of our revenue based on marketing. And we're trying to help marketers make better decisions based on information. I think marketers have always loved data, but we live in a world right now where marketing data is merging over into big data. And it's evolving at a really, really fast rate. And I'm not sure that people really understand, one, how fast it's changing because of technology innovation, and two, how to take advantage of that. And so what we're trying to do is we're really trying to help people, especially marketers, understand what that data means and look at it in the big picture. So I wanted to start with a quick little video. Maybe this will spark your imagination, wake you up a little. Hopefully this plays. Yes. Score.
Marketers have been using a three-step mental model of marketing for a long time. Stimulus, like developing a TV ad. Shelf, focusing on point of sale, which has historically been called the first moment of truth. And experience. People take the product home and experience it. They could have a good experience or a bad experience, and they share it. This is the second moment of truth. If marketers spend time on these three steps, they should succeed, right? We investigated this theory. We conducted a comprehensive study with research partner Shopper Sciences using 5,000 shoppers across 12 categories, from groceries to cars and financial products. The goal, show where influence takes place as shoppers move from undecided to decided. We found that the average shopper used 10.4 sources of information, up from 5.3 sources in 2010. We asked shoppers what sources they used to make decisions, when they used it, and how influential is each source. When we lined up their responses, a fourth step appeared in the marketing mental model, the zero moment of truth. This is when consumers do their research, get smart about alternatives, read reviews, look for coupons and comparison shop, all before going to the shelf. When we compare the steps, the zero moment of truth pops up as highly relevant and influential. Consumers have changed the way they have approached decision-making. As a marketer, have you kept up, or are you still using the old mental model? There's a new mental model now, and marketers that can now keep all these steps spinning gain a very competitive advantage in today's marketplace.
Super googly, right? Inspirational music, lots of primary colors. So this is kind of the approach that we see big data, right? And this is kind of the challenge that we're trying to help businesses understand, is that customers now have a lot of control, right? I was over next door watching some stuff over at Loyalty World, and customers are changing, right? From dogs, which are loyal, to rabbits, which kind of hop around and have a short attention span. And the thing is that they exist in this environment, and they're generating tremendous amounts of data. And so while there is a big challenge, there's also a great opportunity to solve that problem using data. Excuse me. And one of the things that I really like to highlight about Zmod is the whole mobile story, right? And I'm sure everyone here has a smartphone, but if we just look at some of the changes in behavior, in 2009, only 1% of global internet traffic was from mobile. There were only 10 million Android phones sold, and the first iPad was just a total pipe dream. And just last year, 13% of total global internet traffic was from mobile devices, which is just ridiculous when you think about the amount of data. There were 1.3 million Android devices activated every day. That's surpassed the human birth rate right now, so more people activate phones and have babies on a daily basis. And there were just 120 million tablets sold last year. So the big data explosion is really being fueled, in my opinion, by a lot of mobile when we're talking about marketing, right? So how all of this information is compounding our problem of understanding what the behavior is for people. And what we end up with is, if we're thinking about business, right, We get a lot of data from our website. We have mobile websites. We have mobile apps, right? This is just the kind of the online side of the world right now. We have to kind of think about how does that data now interact with all of our other systems, right? Point of sale, customer systems, because for a lot of times, we talk about omnichannel, but we have a lot of silos, right? Our data is living in a lot of different places. And we don't have a customer-centric view of what's happening, right? We have a siloed view of what's happening. And JP, you mentioned this. How many customers do I have? Well, now thanks to mobile, your numbers are probably totally wrong, right? Due to mobile web, mobile app, right? And just all the other types of mobile that's evolving. So breaking down these silos from a marketing perspective is really a key to understanding your business, what's happening with your customers, and how to make everything better. Let's change gears a little. Let's talk about how this is like maybe really manifesting itself. How many people like to garden? Come on, that's it? I know it's Toronto, but it's not that cold. I live in northern Vermont, and I love my garden. It's like a refuge for me. It's in the summer, that 2-week period when there's not snow on the ground. I love to get out there and garden. It's one of my favorite hobbies, and I love being out there with my kids picking strawberries and arugula and all that great stuff. And I thought gardening was a good metaphor because there are some really innovative things happening where you don't even expect to find them from a marketing and from a data perspective, right? So gardeners, right, are very passionate people. And a lot of times we go down to our local garden center because there's a lot of local knowledge. And that's a very popular contact point, right? So from a business perspective, I'm gathering a lot of customer information. When people come in, they tell me about what they're trying to do, where they're at, they buy stuff, a lot of data, right? Well, a lot of these businesses have evolved and done catalogs, right? And this has been around forever. I remember as a kid growing up in New England reading the L.L. Bean catalog. It was like a ritual for me. But again, another source of data, another source of sales, another source of revenue, data living in a different silo. And then everyone's, obviously they needed to reach out to people and you needed to connect with your customers. So you have call centers. Again, more people, more data, another silo. And then we had the internet explosion and we had websites and now people could shop. And we tried to get all of our data that we had stored in all of these kind of AS400 old school systems out onto the web so people could come and they could shop whenever they wanted. And things were good, right? And this is kind of where we've gone. And now we're moving into mobile. And really innovative companies, in the least expected places, are embracing mobile in a way to stay connected. And this is where I love the kind of fact that the loyalty world people are right there and the big data people are here, because mobile has really created an opportunity to improve the loyalty, right? To improve retention and to connect with people. This is a great app that I have on my phone called Garden Minder. Right? And I think it's brilliant from a marketing perspective because this company that does gardening created an app to help me manage my garden, right? So I can actually lay out my garden and I say, all right, I have a 4x8 plot. I want the tomatoes here. I want my arugula here. I want my kale here, right? And I can plan everything out and it sends me little reminders like, oh, Justin, don't forget to harvest your Swiss chard. It's time. It's going to get moldy if you don't get it, right? Literally, they get it. They totally get it. Their marketing team gets it. They're leveraging technology in order to stay better connected with either an existing customer or with a new customer, right? Or a potential customer. So this is really what's happening. Oh, and by the way, if I would like to register my app with them, they would gladly give me a little coupon, $10 off my next purchase. Marketing brilliance from my perspective, right? Now, from a data perspective, it's like, oh, snap, more data. Like another huge set of data, all about the app, what's happening in the app. But this type of thing helps me understand who is this person, right? A name and an email address is just a primary key that if I'm smart, I can plug into all of my other systems. And now I have nice connectivity information. So from a marketing perspective, mobile, marketers are using mobile to create amazing content to stay connected with people. This is what is happening. And we need to future-proof our data and our analytics in order to stay current. That's the challenge. How many people here feel like they're ready for the mobile explosion? Yeah. Anyone have a mobile plan? Okay, good. Everyone else is screwed. 13% of global internet traffic is from mobile, which is amazing. Okay. So really, the way that we feel like, the opportunity to future-proof analytics, right, to future-proof data, is to think about what JP and a lot of other folks are talking about is customer centricity, right? It's all about the customer. No matter what the touch point is, it's all about the customer. Whenever some new technology comes along, whenever something, some other area where you can distribute your content, your message, your advertising, those systems need to be about customer centricity. They need to measure based on the customers, right? And that's really the key to future-proofing this whole thing. And so what we're doing is we're trying to promote this idea of universal analytics, right? Customer-centric measurement that's always thinking about your customer no matter where things are happening, right? So it doesn't matter what the device is. And right now there's so many different devices, right? There's computers, there's mobile, there's set-top boxes, right? Rokus, Xboxes, Apple TVs. There's point-of-sale services, right? All of these systems need to think about the individual customer. How many people like CBC or PBS if you're from the US, right? Customers, right? That content, those are content producers. Their content's getting pushed out through multiple systems. You got to think about, am I seeing the same person or is this a new person? I need to think about, am I providing the opportunity for this person to self-identify in order to understand the behavior across all the devices? I need to connect the dots. I need to make sure that I'm thinking about the experience that's happening there based on this particular customer, right? And if I can connect the dots, I'm going to get a much richer set of information in order to understand how many real customers I have and their behavior. Right? And pulling this data together, then I can start to think about merging it in with other sets of data that I might have, right? Individual customer data that's particular to my business. So for those few gardeners, it looks like a slide's missing here, but from a gardening perspective, I might want to think about things like hardiness zones, like where does this person live? What can they grow? From a marketing perspective, it gives me the opportunity to better target advertising, better target my message, better target my whole content experience to that user, right? Keep them more engaged, retain them longer, and hopefully, generate more revenue over a lifetime from that person. So how do we see this happening, right? How do we see a lot of our customers doing these types of things? Well, let's start with the simple data collection. Websites, mobile websites, we've been measuring these things for a long time. JP talked about web trends, Omniture, Adobe's Marketing Cloud, Google Analytics, all of these systems exist out there. They track websites, they track marketing campaigns, they track both macro and micro conversions, right? Because we're not just looking at the bottom line of revenue, we're looking at all of those different signals that are important to understanding the customer, signing up for newsletters, leaving comments, interacting with content. We need to really make sure we've got our mobile app measurement down, right? It's evolving based on web measurement, right? But we want to see how are people interacting with that content that we put into our mobile apps, whether it's an iOS device or an Android device. These apps are extensions of our brand and our core business functions. So we have to track both the macro activities, like applying for a job or posting a resume, and micro activities, like favoriting a certain company or favoring a certain position listing, right? That's, again, critical information that I need to know about that user so that I can then do more advanced things like predictive modeling around that user. And then we start to think about bringing in the other sources of data. Now, again, I'm an online guy in digital marketing, and that just kind of likes a lot of analytics, but catalogs, right? This is another area where we need to start getting the data to talk together with the other systems, especially web, right? So if I can understand that cross-channel behavior, this person's getting a catalog and they're using the website, right? What is the behavior there? Can I tie those two things together? Gives me the opportunity to do some really interesting segmentation. Same thing for my call centers and obviously for the physical stores, right? That's why I love the fact that loyalty is here, because to me a loyalty ID is like a silver bullet. It's a primary key that I can thread through all of my important systems that's based on an individual customer, right? It really helps me tie my different data sources together and create that 360 view degree of my real customers. And then I can start to import all of this other business information, like demographic information, social information, or stuff that's specific to what I'm doing, like a hardiness zone map for all of my customers if I'm into gardening, right? So this is really how we see the world of data changing for businesses, right? It's maybe not big data, but it's smart data, right? And it's really going to help people make better decisions about their acquisition campaigns and the way that they retain customers. And ultimately, this has to be about analysis, right? This has to be about making more money for the company. And we see this, a few different types of analysis playing out, right? The first thing that we really try to promote is we want everyone to have data, right? That's why we give away a lot of our products for free. Everyone should have access to the data. Everyone needs to be a knowledge worker from here on forward. Period. That's it. Like there's, a lot of people will talk about different organizational models with BI teams and analytics hubs of excellence and intelligence centers, and those are good, right? Those functions are needed. But everyone should have access to the data, right? A primary function of all those groups should be to train people up on the information available to them, a light primer on where does this information come from and any concerns about that data, and then how to use it. Right? The more people that have access to it, the more they're going to lean on it. So product managers can look at data to get ideas for new product ideas. Obviously, marketing managers can get ideas for new types of campaigns and measurement of existing campaigns and measure the ROI not just based on some last-click action, but across the lifetime of their customer. Right? Which channels are working better than others? We want to promote more opportunities to do what I call traditional analysis, but when you come from the online world, things like cohort analysis become really, really hard because cohorts are based on users. And when you play in the digital world, your idea of a user hasn't been front and center for a long time. But if you get all these different sources of data talking together, now you get a better understanding of people who bought from me. And when I say people who bought from me, I can look across the app, I can look across the website, I can look across the phone, and understand, do the people that are buying at during the holiday season, are they behaving differently than the people buying in the middle of the summer? And then we can get into more advanced types of analysis, right? And again, we want everyone to be thinking about things like attribution, right? This is a very, I think, hot topic, especially in the big data world. You need a lot of information to generate attribution models, right? You need to understand all of the different touch points in order to understand the value of the channels that are generating traffic to your apps, to your web, to your store. And put those together in order to understand how they work together in order to generate customers. What we've been seeing and what we've been working with our customers and our users is that this is kind of like a chicken and egg situation, right? Everyone wants an attribution model, and they're waiting for different vendors to give them one and say, like, oh, here's your magic attribution model. Go spend $9 million here and $2 million there, sprinkle a little fairy dust, and this is the number of customers you'll get. But the tools are kind of sitting there going like, all right, well, tell us about your attribution model and tell us about how you're doing it. And there's a lot of people that are waiting for the other to kind of make the first move. And so from an attribution perspective, we feel like getting the data right is the first step. And then the second step is really about testing, right? It's really about trying different mixes in order to see which ones generate the most valuable customers for your business. So it's not just about some black box where you shove in all this data and you get a magic model out. It's about understanding that display may have a really low value to you in one scenario, but a really high value to you in another scenario. That's the basis for testing, right? You can go do some controlled experimentation and see how adjusting spending in different channels will generate better customers for your business. So I moved through that fast because I know I was a little bit short or had to make up a little bit of time there. I think we have time for questions. So I would love to chat with you guys.